Do not build your plan for the man you are when life is easy. Build it for the man you become when you are tired, doubted, ignored, disappointed, and alone. Because that is the man who decides your future. Not the version of you who feels motivated after watching a video at midnight. Not the version of you who imagines a perfect morning, a clean desk, a clear mind, full energy, no pressure, no distractions, and no one pulling you back into the life you are trying to escape. That man is not the problem. The problem is the man who comes home exhausted. The man whose family does not understand what he is trying to become. The man whose friends quietly doubt him. The man who has ambition but no support. The man who wants to build something but still has bills to pay, fatigue in his body, loneliness in his mind, and an old version of himself whispering that none of this is worth it. If your plan cannot control that man, your plan is decoration. It may look disciplined on paper. It may sound impressive when you explain it. It may give you the temporary feeling that change has already begun. But the truth is colder than that. A plan that only works when you feel strong is not a system. It is a fantasy with a schedule attached to it. And most men do not fail because they have no goals. They fail because they build their goals for perfect conditions. They say, I will get in shape, I will build the business, I will learn the skill, I will fix my life, I will become disciplined, I will finally change. But goals are cheap. Any weak man can announce a goal. A goal costs nothing. A system costs identity. A system demands that you remove your excuses before they arrive. It demands that you stop negotiating with the weakest version of yourself. It demands that you design your behavior before emotion enters the room. Because once emotion enters, negotiation begins. And once negotiation begins, weakness has a seat at the table. This is why one plan is not enough. One plan assumes one version of you. But you are not one version of yourself. There is the strong day version of you. There is the normal day version of you. And there is the weekday version of you. If your system does not account for all three, it will collapse. Not because you are broken. Not because you are hopeless. Not because you were born without discipline. It will collapse because you built a structure that could not survive pressure. Machiavelli understood something modern men keep avoiding. A ruler who relies entirely on fortune is ruined when fortune changes. And a man who relies entirely on motivation is ruined when motivation disappears. So the question is not, how do I stay motivated? That is the wrong question. The real question is, how do I design a system that still moves when motivation is dead? That is where freedom begins. Because life is not waiting to become easier, so you can become stronger. The world does not pause for your personal development. People will doubt you. Your body will get tired. Your mood will collapse. Your environment will pull you back into old patterns. And the people who once ignored you will only respect the result after the result becomes too obvious to deny. That is the first law. The world does not reward intention. It rewards proof. And proof is built by systems, not hope, not mood, not motivation. Systems. So today you stop building one fragile plan. You build 3 levels: the strong day system, the normal day system, and the weekday system. The strong day system is the version you execute when energy is high. You slept well. Your mind is clear. You have time. Your environment is stable. You feel sharp. On these days, your job is not to relax because things are easier. Your job is to extract advantage. Strong days are not for comfort. Strong days are for expansion. If your battlefield is fitness, this is the full training session. You do not wander around the gym pretending to be serious. You train with intent. You track. You push. You leave with evidence. If your battlefield is money, this is deep skill development, outreach, offer improvement, and execution. You do not waste your clearest hours scrolling through the lives of men who already paid the price you keep postponing. If your battlefield is content, this is scripting, recording, editing, publishing, and studying what actually holds attention. If your battlefield is a high-income skill, this is 90 minutes of deliberate practice, not passive watching, not collecting notes, not feeling intelligent while avoiding the work. Strong days are where you build distance. You use high energy to create separation between you and the men still waiting to feel ready. But here is the trap. Most men build their entire plan around strong days. So when the strong day disappears, the system disappears with it. That is not ambition. That is fragility wearing the mask of discipline. Your strong day plan is not your system. It is only the highest expression of your system. The second level is the normal day system. This is the version you execute when life is average. You are not destroyed, but you are not inspired. You are slightly tired. You have limited time. Nothing is dramatic. Nothing is perfect. You do not feel heroic. This is where most of life happens. And because most of life happens here, this level matters more than the strong day level. The normal day system should be simple, repeatable, and clear, not impressive. Repeatable. If the strong day is 90 minutes, the normal day is 45 minutes. If the strong day is 20 sales messages, the normal day is 10. If the strong day is a full gym session, the normal day is 30 minutes. If the strong day is writing 1,000 words, the normal day is 500. If the strong day is recording a full video, the normal day is outlining one section and improving one idea until it becomes sharper. Normal days are where identity is carved, not through intensity, through return. The man returns to the work. Again. 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 No applause, no emotional reward, no one watching, no one calling him special, no one telling him they finally understand. This is where the unsupported man becomes dangerous. Because he learns to operate without witnesses. He no longer needs the world to validate the process. He becomes loyal to proof. And when a man becomes loyal to proof, he becomes harder to manipulate. Praise does not seduce him. Doubt does not stop him. Silence does not confuse him. He has a system, and the system gives him evidence. Now listen carefully. If you are serious about becoming this kind of man, you cannot keep consuming content like entertainment and calling it growth. You are watching a lot. You are saving ideas. You are hearing harsh truths. But if your life is not moving, then the problem is not information. The problem is that information has not been turned into structure. If you continue like that, you will become addicted to the feeling of transformation while avoiding the burden of transformation. Inside Patreon, I share deeper, unfiltered content for men who are not here to be comforted, but to be sharpened. Systems, discipline, power, solitude, self-command, and the inner architecture required to become undeniable when no one is supporting you. If you want to truly change, stop treating your development like a casual habit. Enter the room where the standard is higher. The decision is yours. Power is not in begging people to choose. Power is in making the right choice impossible to ignore. Now we reach the third level, the weekday system. This is the system almost no man builds, and this is why almost every man fails. A weekday is when you are tired, when you are irritated, when you are lonely, when you feel unseen, when the doubt is loud, when your body wants comfort, when your old self begins speaking with confidence. You deserve a break. Start tomorrow. This is not working anyway. No one cares. What is the point? A weekday is where the old self tries to regain power. And if you do not have a system for that day, you will obey it. The weekday system is not designed for greatness. It is designed for continuity. Its job is not to create massive progress. Its job is to prevent identity collapse. Understand this clearly. The danger is not doing less on a bad day. The danger is doing nothing. Because nothing teaches the mind that your standards are negotiable. Nothing turns one missed day into two. Nothing gives weakness a vote. Nothing allows chaos to enter the throne room. So your weekday system must be almost impossible to refuse. If you cannot study for an hour, study for 10 minutes. If you cannot train fully, do 10 push-ups and walk. If you cannot write a full page, write 5 lines. If you cannot build the business, send 2 messages. If you cannot clean your life, clean your desk. If you cannot win the day, keep the chain alive. The weekday rule is simple. Never allow zero. Zero is poison. Zero breaks identity. Zero gives your weaker self evidence. And once your weaker self has evidence, it begins negotiating for more. One skipped workout becomes a skipped week. One missed writing session becomes a lost month. One lazy night becomes a lifestyle. This is how men lose their future, not through one dramatic collapse, but through small permissions given to weakness until weakness becomes the ruler. Machiavelli wrote that men judge outcomes, not intentions. But the most dangerous judge is not society. It is yourself. You are always watching yourself. Every action is evidence. Every broken promise is evidence. Every completed task is evidence. Every zero output day is evidence. And your identity is built from the evidence you repeatedly give yourself. If you repeatedly prove that you quit when tired, you will identify as the kind of man who quits when tired. If you repeatedly prove that you still execute something when tired, you will identify as the kind of man who does not disappear under pressure. That is how consistency creates identity, not through affirmations, not through positive thinking, not through pretending to be confident while your actions keep betraying you, through accumulated proof. You become the man your evidence says you are. This is why guilt is a poor system. Most men fail, then drown themselves in guilt. They miss a day, then insult themselves. They fall short, then spiral. They confuse punishment with correction. They think that if they hate themselves enough, they will finally become disciplined. But guilt does not build structure. Guilt often becomes another form of self-obsession. The stronger move is colder. You do not dramatize failure. You study it. A missed day is not a moral crisis. It is intelligence. It shows you where the system broke. Were you tired? Then the sleep system is weak. Were you distracted? Then the environment is weak. Were you overwhelmed? Then the task was too vague. Were you avoiding rejection? Then your ego still has too much power over you. Were you waiting to feel ready? Then motivation still sits too close to the throne. This is how a strategic man thinks. He does not ask, "Why am I so bad?" He asks, "Where did the system allow failure to enter?" Then he closes the gate. A fool blames himself endlessly and changes nothing. A strategist changes the conditions. So when you fail, do not perform guilt. Run the audit. Ask yourself, what was the trigger? What was the weak point? What made the action too hard? What made the distraction too easy? What rule was missing? What environment allowed this? What will I change before it happens again? This turns failure into design. And once failure becomes design, failure loses its power to shame you. Now make this practical. Choose one goal, not 10. One. The goal that would change your life most if you executed it for 90 days. Maybe it is getting in shape. Maybe it is learning a high-income skill. Maybe it is building a business. Maybe it is building a channel. Maybe it is writing. Maybe it is sales. Maybe it is escaping a job that is slowly draining the life out of you. Pick one battlefield. A man who fights everywhere wins nowhere. Then define the daily proof, not the dream, the proof. What action proves you are becoming that man? For fitness, it may be training. For money, it may be outreach. For skill, it may be deliberate practice. For content, it may be writing, recording, editing, or publishing. For discipline, it may be waking up on time, sleeping on time, and protecting the first hour of the day. Do not make the proof vague. Vague systems are hiding places for weak men. Do not write, work on myself, write the action. Do not write, build my future, write the action. Do not write, be disciplined, write the action. Discipline that cannot be measured becomes theater. Now divide that action into 3 levels: strong day, normal day, weak day. If your battlefield is a high-income skill, your strong day might be 90 minutes of deep practice and 1 completed project. Your normal day might be 45 minutes of focused practice. Your weekday might be 10 minutes of review or 1 small exercise. If your battlefield is fitness, your strong day might be a full workout. Your normal day might be a 30-minute session. Your weekday might be 10 minutes of bodyweight movement or a walk. If your battlefield is building an online business, your strong day might be creating an asset, publishing it, and reaching out to prospects. Your normal day might be improving 1 offer and sending 10 messages. Your weekday might be sending 2 messages or writing 1 sharper version of your offer. The weekday version must be so small that only pride can refuse it. And that is the point. On weekdays, you are not trying to impress yourself. You are trying to prevent surrender. You are keeping the throne occupied. You are making sure weakness does not rule the kingdom for even 1 day without resistance. Now install if-then rules, because chaos will come. Do not act surprised when life behaves like life. If I am tired, I do the weekday version. If I miss the morning, I do it at night. If I cannot do the full session, I do the minimum. If I feel resistance, I start for 5 minutes. If I miss 1 day, I return the next day without drama. If my environment distracts me, I leave the environment. If my phone pulls me, it goes in another room. If people interrupt me, I protect a smaller window of time. If my mind says this is pointless, I execute before answering the thought. You are no longer hoping life cooperates. You are commanding your response before the attack begins. That is what systems do. They make decisions before emotion enters the room. Because once emotion enters, it will argue. It will defend comfort. It will make weakness sound intelligent. It will disguise avoidance as rest. It will call fear wisdom. It will call laziness recovery. It will call distraction balance. This is why your rules must be written before the battle. A man who decides inside temptation has already given temptation too much authority. Decide before. Then obey the decision. There is one more thing. Your system must evolve. The first version will be imperfect. Good. Perfection is not the goal. Control is the goal. Every week, review the system. Not emotionally. Strategically. Ask yourself, where did I keep the standard? Where did I break it? Which level did I use most? What obstacle repeated? What excuse returned? What environment helped me? What environment weakened me? What needs to be made easier? What needs to be made stricter? This is how you sharpen the machine, week by week, adjustment by adjustment. You stop being a man who merely wants change. You become a man who engineers change. And there is a deep psychological shift that happens when you do this long enough. At first, you follow the system. Then the system starts shaping you. Then the behavior becomes proof. Then the proof becomes identity. Then the identity becomes reputation. Then reputation becomes leverage. And leverage changes your life. This is the path. Isolation becomes discipline. Discipline becomes skill. Skill becomes proof. Proof becomes leverage. Leverage becomes money, power, and freedom. But none of it begins with motivation. It begins with structure. If you are serious, understand this now. Watching videos will not save you. Agreeing with truth will not save you. Feeling understood by hard words will not save you. If you keep consuming strong ideas but your daily structure remains weak, your life will not move. You will become a man who understands power, speaks about power, admires power, and still does not possess it. That is a dangerous place to stay, because awareness without execution becomes humiliation. Inside Patreon, I go deeper into the unfiltered systems behind self-command, solitude, discipline, power, and the psychology of becoming difficult to control. Not surface-level motivation, not soft comfort, not empty quotes. Practical structures for men who are tired of needing permission from people who never understood their ambition in the first place. If you want to truly change, stop standing outside the gate collecting fragments. Step into the deeper work. The decision is yours. Now return to the system. Strong day, normal day, weekday. Never allow zero. Never dramatize failure. Audit. Adjust. Return. Again. 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 This is how a man becomes reliable to himself. And once a man becomes reliable to himself, the world begins to experience him differently. He stops explaining, he stops begging, he stops asking people to understand the vision before there is evidence. He stops needing belief from people who have no authority over his future. He lets the work speak. He lets the proof accumulate. He lets time expose the difference between those who talked and those who built. Machiavelli understood that appearances matter because men judge what they can see. But the strongest appearance is not performance. It is undeniable evidence, a body changed by discipline, a skill sharpened through repetition, a business built through pressure, a mind trained not to collapse under mood, a life that no longer needs sympathy to continue moving. That is what proof does. It changes the conversation. It silences doubt without argument. It makes the opinions of the uncommitted irrelevant. You do not need everyone to believe in you. You need a system that makes their belief unnecessary. So stop asking for a perfect life. Stop waiting for support. Stop expecting your emotions to become loyal. They will not. Your mood will betray you. Your environment will test you. Your old habits will invite you back. People will misunderstand the season you are in. Some will doubt you quietly. Some will mock you openly. Some will return only after the result becomes visible. Do not build your life around their recognition. Build your life around proof. Build a system that survives exhaustion. Build a system that survives doubt. Build a system that survives loneliness. Build a system that still produces something when no one claps, no one checks in, and no one believes the vision except you. Because that is where the real man is built, not in the fantasy of easy days, but in the architecture of difficult ones. Your future will not be decided by what you want. It will be decided by what your system makes inevitable. And if you are unsupported, misunderstood, doubted, or ignored, understand this. That is not an excuse. That is your condition of war. And a man in war does not depend on mood. He depends on structure. So build the strong day plan. Build the normal day plan. Build the weekday plan. Choose one battlefield. Define the daily proof. Install the if-then rules. Review the system every week. Remove negotiation. Remove drama. Remove the fantasy that one day life will become easy enough for you to finally become serious. Life will not become easy first. You must become structured first. That is the order. The system comes before the feeling. The proof comes before the confidence. The repetition comes before the identity. The identity comes before the reputation. The reputation comes before the leverage. And leverage is what changes your life. No support, no network, no excuses. Build anyway. Until your evidence becomes louder than their doubt. Until your discipline becomes stronger than your mood. Until your life no longer asks for permission. That is how a man becomes undeniable.